Hi everyone, Amy here with Amy Swears, and I'm going to share with you the mid-month inspiration release stencil and make a couple of easy Christmas cards. Now this is the classic snowflakes. This is the mid-month release for September, and this will be available at the time of airing for the first week on sale. Here are a couple photos of the finished card to show you the direction that we're headed, but basically how this mid-month release works is for the very first week you can get it at a discounted price in the shop, and you can also use my coupon AmyFan10 on top of it. Otherwise, after that, it will still be available in the shop, but at full price. So depending on when you're seeing this and depending on when you buy, will dictate how much this awesome stencil will sell for. Now, I'm going to use these glitter or these shimmer sprays. These are from Delusions. I will link them in the video description box below. But I don't even have any pixie spray on this. I just have my splat box with some paper in the bottom. I have my cardstock and the stencil just laying on top. I'm just letting gravity kind of work in my favor. You absolutely can use the pixie spray. Here I was noticing it was jamming up on me. I was trying to use a darker color. So I did actually run it through my sink through some hot water and got it kind of unclogged. But I had those pretty big drips, which as you'll see kind of works against me. Now, like I said, I don't use pixie spray. If I did in this instance, it may have saved me the trouble of these messy splotches that I will show you in a moment. However, it would make it harder to kind of lift it up when it's all inky, like I'm doing here when you have pixie spray. So kind of, I don't know, wager whether it's worth it for you to kind of use the pixie spray or not. Now, I have all this extra ink and I don't want it to go to waste. So I have this other scrap of the rest of the piece of cardstock, and I'm just going to lay this down right on here as to not waste all that extra ink. And I'm basically going to make like a monoprint. You can see I've already got Hot Mess Express. I got this ink all over my fingers, but I have this piece of just copy paper I'm just going to put on top of it just so I can really press that into the cardstock and create basically a monoprint. So, like I said, use your judgment on whether you want to use pixie spray or not, but typically whenever I do this with the sprays, with the exception of when it clogged like it did just here, I've had pretty good luck at getting a nice clear transfer of the ink onto my cardstock without using the pixie spray. So here I'm just going to pull back the copy paper and pull back the stencil to release this cool monoprint. So now I've got two very different looks with just the one round of spraying on the stencil, and I'm going to cut these down with this stitched edge rectangle die. So this is like a nested die set from Paper Rose. I will link that and all the other products in the video description box below. But basically I picked a smaller one so that I could kind of avoid some of my mistakes on these panels. So don't give up if it doesn't come out perfect. Either maybe cut around it or save it for a die cut, or I don't know. I bet you'll find some clever way to use it. So if it doesn't end up perfect, that's totally okay. At the end of the day, if you do have to bin it, it is just paper. But as you can see here, I was able to get two panels with this cool stitched edge rectangle die, and I cut some strips for the inside to kind of continue the design onto the inside of the card. Now, to use stuff even further, I kind of recently created these folders with scraps designated by color family, and I was able to use up some colored cardstock scraps on these cards as well. So that's always a bonus. You can see I've got some pattern paper in there, just kind of figuring out. Now it's not a perfect match with the blue, but I'm okay with that because it's just meant to look like a pretty wintry, Christmassy sort of theme. So just kind of flipping through, and I was glad I was able to use up some scraps for this. So I'm basically just going to use one of the next up sizes of that same nested stitched edge rectangle, and I'm just going to cut these little pieces of blue cardstock out. So then it'll give it a nice border to go around these panels that I created. So here you can see this is the next size up. I'm just going to lay that down right on the cardstock and run those through my die cutting machine off screen. And I do use a Spellbinders Platinum 6. It's a manual machine. I've never used any of the electric die cutting machines. I'm not familiar with them. I don't have any experience with them, but I've been very happy with my Spellbinders Platinum 6. However, I recently kind of broke the handle on it, so I am in the market for a new Spellbinders Platinum 6. I do need to get my hands on a new one eventually. So the die cutting part still works, but it's a little worse for wear, and like I said, not having the handle working is kind of annoying because if I forget, I'll totally drop the whole thing down on my work surface or worse, and break the whole thing. So I do need to get that figured out. But either way, I'm making it work for now. Here I'm just going to pop up these panels with my 1-inch foam tape. This is from scrapbook.com. It's my favorite kind of thick foam tape that I like to use. And I'm just going to put this right in the center of these panels with a nice even border around the panels. And this is going to be the main components of my 2 cards, and it will have that nice kind of popped up dimension. But overall, I'm keeping these designs pretty simple like you saw in the cards in the beginning. Basically, I'm just going to put this down in the center of the card bases. This is a 120-pound accent opaque, and I'm just going to use some liquid glue to attach that directly down to the card base. And then those little strips that say Merry or Happy Christmas, those are actually from Simon Says Stamp. They're some of those reverse sentiments. You get them in like a little sheet, kind of like 4x6 or maybe 4 1/4 by 5.5 size, and then you can just cut the strips down. So really super quick and easy. Definitely a great thing to have if you're batching a bunch of holiday or Christmas cards and need things quickly. So I was glad to find that in my stash of Christmas stuff. I actually haven't even created any Christmas cards yet this year. These are my first 2 of the year, so I'm not ready to start batching those yet, but given this beautiful kind of holiday or winter-like stencil, I was inspired to make my first couple cards. So to let the glue kind of cure on this, I'm just going to put some of these acrylic blocks down and make sure that kind of sticks to the card base. And then I'm just going to attach these. I was debating on using my little foam strips, but since I already had some dimension behind the panels, I didn't want to make them too high because I know I will be definitely mailing these out come Christmas time. So I'm just going to liquid glue these down in the center, and that's basically going to be it. I think I added some blingage to the design, but overall very simple. These panels came together super quickly with the spraying of those metallic shimmery sprays from Delusion. So really quick, easy way to create a bunch of backgrounds, and a fun way to use your stencils. Now these blingage are actually little resin droplets. They look like water, so I thought it worked well with the whole, snowflake theme here. And they're clear, so they go with everything. And I'm using my liquid glue from Barely Arts and my jewel picker tool just to kind of put a smattering of these down in odd numbers, so 3 on the top, 2 on the bottom, just because I prefer to work with odd numbers. I find them more visually appealing, but that's basically going to finish the design. So this, like I said, is the mid-month release, so be sure to catch this while it's on sale. Otherwise, it will just be in the shop with all the other stencils after that first week. So I will link the sale link specifically below in the video description box below. If that link doesn't work, that means the sale portion is done. So then just go to the other links that I have that will bring you to the rest of the release in the shop. So I hope that makes sense. It probably will once you look at it in the video description box. But I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please hit the thumbs up and consider subscribing. And be sure to check out all the stencils from this month because they're great. And use my coupon AmyFan10 and you'll save 10% on your complete order. So thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you next time.